Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. And I got one hell of a show for you tonight here on this March 1st, 2021 evening. I am joined by a legendary crew of Shawn Romano, Chris Aceto, Lee Priest, and Chris Cormier. Welcome to Real Deal.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
It's good to see my son-in-law. How you going, Chris?
Your legitimate son-in-law.
I had
Your
to take
wife
care.
and your son-in-law.
Well, he's married to my daughter. They had a child, and he's been a bit slow on the child support. But you know, I'm letting it slide. I had to take care of her this weekend, as Chris knows, and she's very upset that Chris can't get into the country right now. But it's okay.
Is that a true story for those people who are watching this, Lee?
Yes, of course it's a true story. Ask Chris.
Yeah, I can't get into the country. I'm late on the child support. Sorry.
Oh boy.
It's okay. I got your back there. I'm helping her out till you get here. I'm helping her out till you
For sure.
But the truth is, with relation to Chris Cormier, Aceto, I think you were the first person to ever see Chris, right? Like, as far as from a bodybuilding perspective.
No, I ran into Chris and helped Chris early on in his career. And I was telling people Cormier was not big, right, Chris? You were not big. You were put together 100% right with flow and structure and just, pretty round, but not big. And I told the story in Gold's Venice to Bob Paris, who I was prepping for. One year I helped Bob Paris. And nobody knew who Chris was, and I explained the way Chris looked. So me and Bob was standing out in front of Gold's, and here comes Chris, maybe 50 yards away in a tank top and Hutskins like shorts.
Everyone wore those back then, right?
And Bob said, "Here's Chris now."
And what did Bob really say?
And I said, how would you know? And he said, he's exactly.
Oh, wait, do it in Bob's voice because you have the best Bob Paris.
No, because it's like it's the Bob. It's the lowest baritone voice. It's too low of a voice to even get to.
You're doing great. You do a great impression of Bob Paris.
There's Chris now. I can't do Bob.
He just woke up from a nap. He doesn't.
I did.
Best time to do it.
Anyways, he recognized a great physique when he saw one, and I introduced Chris to Bob, and I told Chris the story right there. I said, Chris, I was just telling Bob of how incredible you're going to be as a bodybuilder, and he spotted you 50 yards across the parking lot, or where Google is now.
He wasn't Googling. He was Googling him back then too, and there wasn't even Google back then.
No, there was nothing. Cormier wasn't even.
Maybe Googling.
The point was, people can think like, well, they must know who Chris was, but I don't even think I don't think he won the Cal yet.
Wow. Chris, you remember that meeting?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, I was a fan of Bob from just from having that structured physique that I kind of patterned some of my poses after Bob early on, and Chris was, I'd say Chris was as on his level as significant in the sport. He was like one of the first ones that was like this guy could be good. Yeah, when a lot of people and Chris, a lot of people didn't believe that.
Oh, they thought you were just like a.
They didn't believe it, no matter how close to me or whatever. I don't think they really believed.
They did. You know what, Chris?
I believed.
Chris, you know what? The people around you did not believe it, even though you said it. And when you said it, I knew you believed it, so I knew you were going to get there. I literally, I knew that you were going to be like one of the top, like for sure, because you knew that and you trained like that. You know what I mean? You trained like your life depended on it.
Right.
I'm going to hit you guys with, Chris, you don't answer this question. This is for the panel. This is a trivia question. Chris Cormier, 1987 Teen Nationals, won his class. Who won the overall?
Matt Mendenhall.
Nope.
What year?
87.
I was in Australia. How would I know?
It wasn't the guy from New Jersey. The
Yes.
Italian guy.
Yes.
The Italian guy never took more than 50 Winstrol a week.
No, I don't. No.
Who was that?
No.
Well, I get the nationality and I get the state.
You're not talking about
Gerard Dente.
Oh, I thought it was
What did you think it was?
Centuriello, Santifranco.
Centuriello? No.
He did before me.
Victor Terra.
Victor Terra. You know who won the middleweight class that year?
Victor Terra.
I do.
Who, Chris?
Rob Lopez.
Robbie Lopez. That's right. I didn't even know that. I forgot.
But where's that other guy that was really? They said he was supposed to win my class, but he didn't. He was a middleweight the year before, and then he was
Michael Tremblay.
I thought it started with a D.
Michael
Short
Tremblay.
guy, like a short, thick leg guy.
Juan Marquez.
Now you're really going back.
If I keep throwing names out, I'll get it right eventually.
That's 7 billion chances.
Rory Littlemeyer.
Well, Chris gave us a hint. He has a D in the name. There's a D. Can you give us a vowel, Chris?
D and Fantero, whatever his name was.
You know what the funny thing was about Chris? Chris, I didn't even know. I was just looking at your contest history. I didn't even realize that Chris was in that 91 Nationals. You remember that crazy one where Levroni won?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Chris was 7th that year.
I was 7th.
Yeah.
Was that like the most intimidating lineup of all time? Like to compete in?
Chris was with me, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, you were with him that year.
Chris did my little get ready for that.
91, because he did the 91 USA.
And I was trying to go for natural in that one. I said, okay.
That's right.
The natural test. And then all these guys showed up at the show. I'm trying to go natural at. And I'm like, damn. Even Kittarello even placed ahead of me. Then they Bob, and what's his name? Not Bob.
Victor Terra.
If Chris would have won, if Ronnie wasn't in that show, Chris, they probably would have sent you to the universe.
Oh, yeah,
you would have been the only other guy who couldn't have passed.
Listen.
Bob Ciccarello was 6th. He beat you actually at that show.
Yeah,
Dave,
I would have went, but yeah, Ronnie. And then I said, I'm not even going to go for the test. I know Ronnie was clean, and I knew he was gonna win.
Ronnie didn't even know what steroids were back then.
Listen,
A lot of us didn't back then. It wasn't like talked about.
No, it wasn't.
In 91 when Cormier did the Nationals,
Right.
it was in Pittsburgh, right, Chris?
Right.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because I just remember being stunned so Chris was natural, and he went to the Nationals. He got 7th, and then right after the Nationals, they have the pose down for the universe, right?
Yes,
And same thing. It's with telephone calls, for God's sakes. Cormier calls me and says, "Well, I got 2nd to go to the universe, so I'm not going."
You're like, who's beat you, right?
I said, "Come on, Chris." I said, "It is impossibility. It is 100% impossibility that anyone natural can beat you natural." And he said, "Well, there's a guy here. He's got these big arms." I'm dead serious. I remember the conversation.
Really? That's funny.
And I didn't believe that he was natural. And I didn't even know who he was. I just said,
Ronnie?
"No, Chris. He's probably loaded to smithereens and just beat the test."
And for the young kids watching, this is what Chris is talking about.
Oh, that's a telephone. Yeah, that's right.
You used to have to pick it up. If you wanted a private conversation, you'd stretch this as far as you could around the corner.
Right.
The good old days.
Yeah.
My mother when we took it to another level, my mother got a telephone cord that could stretch all the way through
We
the
all
house.
had that cord. It was like 20 miles long, that thing.
But remember,
And if you can even get an extra couple 6 inches out of it if you really yank that thing out.
remember before this when you had the old dial one,
That's
and
right.
you wanted to dial really fast, you'd put your finger in and pull it back really fast.
Yeah. You're right.
But then
You're
it would mess it up and you'd have to start again. It'd be like,
Do you remember party lines?
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That was the best.
Party line. You'd have like 2 rings for you and 1 ring for them.
I'm sure.
Isn't this, we're on a party line right now, I think.
Party line.
Chris been training at Gold's. He remembers this. Muscle man. Muscles. Remember that payphone at Gold's?
Muscle
man.
Yeah.
Muscle man.
You said you thought it was Luzwick, right?
No, Luzwick was 2 a.m. Hey, Cormier. How you doing? Nationals coming up. Leveroni's in it.
Yeah.
You think you can beat him? How big are your biceps? How big are the biceps?
You think you can beat it?
Go measure them. Go measure the biceps right now. Go measure them.
Dave, that's a verbatim call from Bruce Wick. And at 2 a.m. The time zone was correct too.
Well, because I was in Australia, that's what he called me. It'd be 2 a.m. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Friggin' sleeping. What do you think I'm doing?" And then he'd be like, "How big are your arms?" I'd say, "I think they're 20. Go measure them." I'm like, "I'm not going to look for a tape measure at 2 a.m."
The funny thing was you were the only one who probably had the legitimate 20-inch arm that he called.
I don't know. It was weird.
Did you so Chris, now what's going on? I hear you have according to at least what's his name, Breon, you have an amazing new house. Where'd that come from?
Just from training people, and
you stepped it up, huh?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Look
trying to
that
do that
artwork behind him there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who decorated
beautiful.
that? Very nice.
He's been watching Julie Kwong.
I have a decorator, have a housekeeper, all that.
Wow.
Once a week.
How many people are you training over there?
I do a lot of stuff online, and also and I got maybe four solid ones over at the gym in San Diego.
Very cool. What gym are you training out of?
The gym. It's called the gym. It's the old World Gym.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah, man. Rick takes care of me over there really well, and it's like the old Golds, like the place where you get called up and find out the who won the Olympia type of place, you know.
Right. Is that's where Derek is, right? Farnsworth?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that gym. I've been there, unfortunately, a lot of times with Rick Collins. I had my case down in San Diego. We used to go work out after. People were like, "What's he doing in the gym? Having a good time? He's supposed to be, having a trial there." Like, I'm not allowed to work out, morning or something like that. But yeah, it's a beautiful gym.
They have a ton of bodies in there, a ton of competitors, and
still a lot of people there, right? Who compete.
Yeah. A lot of amateurs there too that you probably don't know yet, but it's a whole lot.
So you're working with a lot of people over there?
Yeah, and then a lot of posing and a lot of different clientele like that, and I got a lot of online, like I say, posing clients, stuff like that.
I always said that San Diego was the best place to live. The weather never changes. It's always 70 degrees there. It's there's always a breeze. There's no insects there. It's just very expensive to live there, from what I remember.
It's cheaper than San Francisco.
Cheaper in LA. You have that city look, and also you have that got the ocean there, and you got some really good seafood there. I'm gonna love that.
Cormier's a foodie.
Definitely.
Chris is always posting pictures of lobster and shrimp and oysters and.
Yeah. Oysters.
Wink, wink.
Now, Lee, what are you doing? You're in a hotel room and you got a police shirt in the background hanging there. What's that going on over there?
Ex-nay on the federal police shirt, Dave. Ex-nay. That's my part-time job.
Are you under house arrest or something like that? What's going on with the hotel room?
No, I'm down here. I'm filming the Fat Pizza TV show where, by unknowns to people, I was on it last year. Guess what I play on the show? Give you a guess. Go ahead. Guess. Go ahead.
Racist. Got to be a racist, right?
Yes.
White supremacist.
I played a white supremacist guy. Yes, I do. Yeah. Thank you very much.
A lot of our viewers they would say, well, that's the perfect part for you because they think you're a racist.
Oh, I didn't even have to train for the part.
Are we going to ask Chris? Are we going to talk about that?
Let's ask Chris. Chris, you're an African American man. Did you find Lee's portrayal? Hold on. Did you find Lee's portrayal of Shawn Ray last week on the show for only 2 minutes? Did you find it offensive? I want to know honestly.
I mean, I don't like. It's okay. Here's the thing.
Be honest, Dad. It's okay.
I mean, I know their relationship for one, and I know they can abuse each other as much as possible. I get all that. I wasn't considering it like blackface. It was, if someone like actually, I would be offended if anyone did that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it was a mask, and it looked pretty weird. And
he's a weird guy.
It was hard to look at.
Looked like I thought it was Sanford and Son from Red Fox.
Yeah, I didn't consider blackface, but it was kind of weird. But Lee is pretty racy anyway, and you would expect something like I guess he got a few masks that he do. People, I hope you don't get me. But yeah. I mean, I didn't consider blackface. Though.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Can you explain to our audience why the blackface thing is does bother some people? Because you know what, I actually apologize. I did an interview with Xavier Wills, and I actually said, for anyone who was offended, I'm sorry if because that was never the intention. It was obviously as a goof, and I think Shawn took it and ran with it because he felt it was a good way, to get maybe support for himself.
It's a sensitive time right now.
Yeah, very sensitive,
and so. And it's some people, that I feel in the sport is probably prejudice. I don't consider him a prejudiced person. Mm-hmm. As far as like doing that whole mocking a black person with the big lips and that whole thing, that's pretty offensive to black people for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think Lee did? It was a mask of Shawn.
No, I get that. That's what I said.
So I mean, I thought it was, and he was doing an impersonation. I didn't see that was, it was a mask of Shawn. What else is it? It's supposed to be.
Do you like my shirt?
It's supposed to look like Shawn, right?
I'm kidding.
I think Chris made a good point, though. It's a very sensitive time, and people are overly sensitive about it. It's like if you just push the button a little bit, and I think people overreact maybe. But you know what? If it did offend people, then obviously that wasn't our intention. We're not. I mean,
Dave, it's a sensitive time.
It is.
I mean, it's but don't make it sound like people are like overly sensitive. Don't downplay it.
No,
I mean,
no, I didn't.
Chris and I have had all kinds of conversations of race in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've been together where, I mean, Chris can tell you 1,000 stories.
Mm-hmm. About what?
About people who have treated him differently in not a good way due to race.
Really? What? Can you give us an example? I know Robbie Robinson told me some really incredible stories from back in his childhood. But where have you experienced that, Lee? I mean, Chris, because you grew up in California.
Yeah. So, just like, and don't get me wrong, like I have friends that are cops. I have friends that are. I was even thinking of being a cop at one point, a time in my life, early on, but I know I was profiled a lot, especially in LA and during different times. But I was growing up there in LA, and I was in my young 20s, but I feel like I was growing up in LA. But just having tattoos on this side of my body, just down my arm, my neck, and stuff like that. And then riding around in a black Escalade with the rims on it, and it's really darked out. They can't see in there. I was actually driving with my son in the back, and he was really young. I got pulled over 3 times within an hour.
Really? Holy man.
3 times in an hour. Not even just to check me out. Not even like what, like how
you weren't doing anything wrong. Yeah.
Nothing wrong. I'm just driving. They see me and they just wrap around and want to pull me over. But in actual, I was counting. I was like, okay, that was the second time. Okay, and then the third time, I was like, I stopped in front of. I was in Culver City. I stopped in front of the 7-Eleven. This so happened to be on the cover of Flex magazine at the time.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was telling the guy, I said, dude, he was like asking me where I got my tattoos, and I'm like, I'm just startled, like, oh shit, I just want this dude to shoot me. So I'm just like trying to answer his questions, and like, you know, and sometimes they come out with their guns drawn already, type of stuff. And I told him, I said, hey, I'm on this cover of Flex magazine. I'm not game banging. I'm not trying to, you know, whatever. I said, my son's in the back. I'm just trying to get home, you know, that type of thing. And the guy's like, he really didn't believe me I was even on the cover. But he was just questioning me where I got my tattoos, and I'm like stuttering and shit. I'm like,
Chris can't remember anything. He's got a worse memory than I do.
I can't remember where I got my tattoo.
It's like, I don't know. It happened at some party. Someone gave me a tattoo.
I was drunk in Mexico.
Shit like that. But yeah, it's been plenty of times been pulled over and having guns drawn on you and stuff like that. And I don't think everyone understands it or been through something like that, or probably ever will. But I guarantee you, it's not a good feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's that's certainly a wake up call. You know.
Yeah.
Lee, someone wants to know if you sold your. No, that's not the one. If you sold your "Assassinate the President" shirt that you were auctioning off.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
How much did it sell for?
$200 US.
Wow.
And the money goes to animal shelters.
Yeah, no,
that was the Kamala and the Biden one. I still have the F Biden face mask and shirt, the auction off at the animal shelters. But the Assassinate the one did go, yes.
Chris, someone keeps asking me, did you ever train with Victor Richards? Did you know him well?
I knew him pretty well. I never trained with him. He actually asked me to help him, you know, get ready for something. He was trying to get ready for it one time. We were coming out of Weeder headquarters at the time. And he was saying that he's just been eating, what was he saying? Tuna fish and some type of fruit he was having. Just said fruit and tuna fish was his main diet. And I was like, damn, dude, like, how do you even look like that eating tuna fish and fruit?
Right.
And then just telling me that he was like, man, so we were supposed to talk about doing something. This is like I said, it was a long time ago. But yeah, we had many occasions, conversations on the phone and stuff like that. But of course, you had to look up to the guy. He was they called him Mr. Big back in the day. He was just like, it's just funny that every time I saw him, he's always that same size. Like I couldn't never understand.
Right.
I think he used to eat that. What's that stuff he used to eat? I remember a few of them used to eat it back in the day, and he mentioned he ate it. It used to be like something like rice that was really dense, but it was like you could have this much of it, and it was like 5,000 calories or something. It was some sort of plant-based, like a rice type thing, but it was like, I can't remember the name.
Patty?
Mochi.
No, I can't remember, but it's similar to like rice structure, but it'd be like if you had a huge bowl of it, you could almost be guaranteed 8,000 calories in a bowl because it was like this real dense. Because I remember asking him once years ago, because remember that article come out where it said he used to eat like 10 or 15,000 calories a day, and I'm like, how does anyone eat that amount of food? And he did mention it was some funny name. I'm not sure whether he said it was like some South African based plant type thing, but it's like the consistency of rice and just a small amount was like 5,000 to 6,000 calories.
I'd like to know what that is. That's a good thing to give out to your clients.
Someone will look it up, but yeah. That's
what Victor probably got big from. Chris, Cormier, they want to know, what do you think of your Australian bodybuilding client, Chris Cavalos? And does he have a good future?
I think Yeah, I've been working with him for going on another second year. He won the show last year. I think I would like him to do more on just staying the course, because when you work with someone and then you stop talking for a period of time, you get back, you feel like you got to like re-talk everything, right. Say the same thing you already said before. But I think he has a work ethic. He seems to do what he's told. He's just I just think if we balance out his bottom half, his legs get bigger. I think I think he can do very well. And it's going to depend on him, but I think he's got I think he's got the backing behind him financially and stuff like that. Got a support group of the gym there in Sydney, City Gym. And so I think he has what it takes to do what he has to do.
Cool.
He actually wrote to me not long ago. Guess what he was asking for?
What's that?
Relationship advice. Asking me.
He's asking you?
Me.
Holy mackerel! What a glutton for punishment that guy is if he's asking you.
Chris, you better call him up and take care of him. I might have led him astray. You haven't heard from him for a while, have you?
No, man.
He must have took my advice.
He was just going through a little something. That's all. He'll be good.
All right, I got it. I want to show you guys something. I got an interesting conversation here. Piece. Flex Lewis, as we know, has launched his Dragon's Lair Gym in Vegas. I don't know if anyone's. There's a video online. I'm going to play the little video clip here of the Dragon's Lair, and I see that or at least on the website, I see that the price is something like $150 a month for this. That's pretty high. Now, with Planet Fitness is around there, charging $10 a month. I mean, you think he's going to do well with this thing in Vegas? I mean, Vegas, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in going to check it out. I was just talking to a couple of my clients, Tyler and Tristan, Lee from Canada. We was talking about taking a road trip up there and get some training up there and check it out. Spend a week in there and train and check it out. At this point, I think it has a lot of flair and a lot of upside because, it's been a long time since I want to drive or take a drive to Vegas and train in the gym.
So you're excited and you're like a kid in a candy store. They're like, you want to see this new gym. Okay.
Yeah, I want to check it out.
He's got some good equipment. That's Justin Dees, by the way, who is the general manager of the gym.
Is he living there now?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's the GM. That's what Flex introduced him as in the video.
I know he was living in Utah.
Yeah. No, he's a Utah. I don't know if he moved there or what. He must have. I assume.
I don't know.
Right?
What's membership prices for old retired pros?
Yeah, I don't know. He'd probably let you train there for free. I would think. I would imagine. I think you're a legend enough.
No, we'd have to pay $10 a day.
Yeah. Chris wants to drive to Vegas so he can stop at that Mad Greek restaurant in Barstow.
With 110 degrees.
Yeah. You ever had the big desserts at the Mad Greek? They're pretty good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He got the crazy drawings on the wall. I love those. The walls. Yeah, I think that's the guy from Vegas. The guy from Australia did it, isn't it?
Max.
Yeah, who's that
Medax.
guy?
Max.
Medax used to do a lot of this stuff, but I don't know. Would he have gone over for that with COVID? I'm not sure.
They show him. I don't know. Let me see if I can find the guy. They show the guy on camera.
Medax Taylor, isn't it the one that does it here? A lot of them.
Flex introduced him in the beginning, I think. So, I think he did it. This guy. Who's this guy? Do you know this guy? That's the guy who did it, I think.
That's Carrot Top.
Carrot Top.
He does the magic acts down at the New Orleans.
Whatever happened to Carrot Top?
do you know the guy? I actually
he got buff. Remember, he got fairly big and weird looking. It was like
he had his shoulders all jacked up with like Synthol or something.
Yeah, he was all lumpy.
I actually was in Gold's Gym there.
He had his face jacked up with
Synthol. He had like a face.
It's like he had all that plastic surgery or something. It was like weird.
He had Synthol in his cheeks.
He genuinely is a funny guy though, because you know what? I know him two ways. Once I was in Gold's Gym like for the Olympia one year, and he was in there working out. I'm like, would you mind doing a skit about the Olympia with me? Like, I just said, fuck it, I'm going to ask him. I'm like, this guy, there's no way Carrot Top is going to say no to me, right? And he did. He did a little funny skit with me. And we had it on RX Muscle. The second time I met him was with Chris Angel, because Chris Angel's friends with him, you know, because they all know each other. I guess if you work in Vegas, everyone knows each other. And he's like a really just a down to earth cool guy. He's actually, I think he's friends with Jay. Jay Cutler is friends with him because I know Jay knows him pretty well because he always mentions Jay whenever I see him. You ever hear Jay talk about him?
Jay's circle keeps shrinking. So
yeah,
they used to
they used to hang out. It was 10 years ago I'm talking about.
No, they used to hang out. I mean, they used to be friendly, quote, back in the day. Yeah, I guess it was 10 years ago. I don't know.
Jay loves to be in touch with the movers in Vegas, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Carrot Top sort of disappeared. We haven't seen her lately.
Yeah.
I think he's still doing his show there.
He's fallen into that big suitcase of his, and we've never seen him since. That big box of tricks that he'd pull. You know who I did see on another podcast the other day, and he looks pretty good and in good spirits, is your client, Shawn Rhoden. He said he was about did he say he was 285 at the moment or something? And he looked pretty good in good spirits.
Yeah, he's
Is he ever going to go to trial, Chris?
I don't know. I mean, how long has it been? I keep saying that.
This is the longest rape, accusation trial I've ever seen. I mean, you would think that they would want to prosecute the guy if there was something wrong with him.
They want to drag it out as long as possible. The longer you drag it out.
He didn't even talk about that. He was just talking about he's in a good frame of mind. His training's been going well with Chris. He's about 285 and he's positive. And he did say if he comes back in shape, he's going to beat Ramy.
He's like Muhammad Ali. They're taking away the best years of his career. I mean, at this point, either try the guy or let him get on with his life. I mean, what's going on?
I think even the rest might have done him good. Maybe we haven't seen the best of him yet, so his best years still yet to come.
If he's 285, I don't think he's wasting any time.
What do you think, Cormier, of them not allowing him to compete?
Personally, I mean, if he was proven guilty, I would say, or whatever they want to do with with everything. But I'd say if you're still in this process, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, at this point, they should just let him compete if they're not going to try him,
Personal opinion, yeah.
Well, the thing is, the first year I understood what they were trying to do. I thought it was going to be done and over with, and then he'd be able to get on with his life or either go to jail. Now we're going on 3 years already. I mean, this is ridiculous already. The guy's got to support himself, and in the meantime, I'm shocked at the fact that they won't let him compete at this point.
That's what I'm saying.
What about you, John? You like to make bold political statements.
Well, I mean, you got to weigh what's more important, beating the rape charge or winning the Olympia. I think from a defense standpoint, the longer you drag out a case like this, the better, because the more time that goes by, evidence disappears, people forget, people disappear, people die, people move away. So, the best defense is going to be drawn out. So if his lawyers it's not the prosecution. They're not the ones deciding.
You don't think so? I think it is.
Why? What do they have to gain?
Because I think it's this whole COVID thing. They just backed up.
It's worse for them the longer that they have statistically, they have a less and less chance of a conviction the more time goes by. So the prosecutors want to get it over with as quick as possible while everything's still fresh. Defense wants to drag it out. So COVID, no COVID, the longer it drags out, the better it is for him. What's worse for him? What's the better outcome for him? Winning at trial and then coming back to bodybuilding, or hurrying up and making a deal, or losing a trial and then, never competing again.
But do you think that at this point, I guess it would be Jake Wood now, or I don't know, the IFBB, do you think they should let him compete since it is taking this long? I mean, or you think they have to stick to their guns with their initial,
But I don't think it wasn't Jake's initial decision, or was it?
Well, AMI didn't let him do the Olympia, but then I think the IFBB upheld that. The IFBB upheld the fact that they didn't want to let him compete in anything, because I remember the Arnold people wanted to let him compete, and then the IFBB put their foot down. So,
well, on the podcast, he said he's been in positive talks with Jake Wood and Mannion and that. So, this wasn't a discussion about the trial day. This was a discussion about how good Shawn is looking right now. And
I want to see him back on stage. If he's not going to try, then let him compete.
So do I. I'm just going to sit here. This is for the people that say Lee tries too hard to be. People say Lee tries too hard to be funny. This is for those people. I'm just going to sit here and teabag myself.
Chris Cormier, who do you think had the when you were competing back in the 90s, early 2000s? Who do you think had they may not have been the best bodybuilder. Who had the best genetics, you think? Who was the most gifted genetically of everyone that you competed with? You could include yourself in this too. You competed with a lot of freaks, man. I mean, the most genetically blessed of all time, probably.
Genetically, damn.
That's a hard question.
Is Dillette? Someone wrote Dillette in the comments on the YouTube comments.
Yeah, but you got.
I mean, I started thinking about every body part there, like that. But there's people that have a lot of genetically gifted physiques, and not only in muscle wise, but like the way they can retain, muscle mass, can be gifted in body fat, being able to burn body fat or whatever.
Right.
I remember Rennell was pretty damn freaky. Rennell
Janvier.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
You want to hear a Rennell story? Rennell made Rennell Janvier was the first guy. Everyone was all crazy, had the crazy glutes on stage. Rennell stopped training for like 5 years or something like that, and looked like a normal human being if you would have seen him. He was training people at this gym on Long Island where a lot of my friends were training people, and Rennell decided he was going to make a comeback. If you saw Rennell, this would be Rennell. Rennell would go into the gym, no warm-up, coming out of his car. He'd go up, I'm going to do chest. He'd grab the 150-pound dumbbells, no warm-up. He'd like hurl them up on the incline machine. He'd like squeeze out the worst 10 reps you've ever seen. Like ballistic Blackman training, type of thing. Damn it, muscle damage.
I used to work at Roxbury, and I'm going to see him in the club the last 2 weeks for the show.
And he would grow doing that.
Yeah. The last 2 weeks, he got the foot up the pedal. And got his foot off the pedal the whole time and just cruising. What about the guy who's from Germany? The one black dude he was in the Fletcher. What's his name? Fletcher?
Edgar Fletcher? Yeah.
Edgar Fletcher, yes.
He was a freak, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a hard question when you ask.
He cheated on his diet all the time, from what I
heard. Did he really?
Oh yeah, because he was from Pittsburgh. Man used to, they used to see him. They would be in the NPC gym looking down. Ed could be on the street corner eating eating ice cream and stuff like that, pizza, and like trying to sneak it in. Like he'd be 2 weeks out from the Nationals. So Jim would be like, "What are you doing?"
That's a hard question on genetics, though, because if I look at it, you got Chris, you got Flex, you got Dillette, you got all those guys, and okay, Chris, Flex, Dillette all had different body shapes.
Kevin.
Vince Taylor, but Kevin, all these guys had different body shapes. But when you're talking Chris, Flex, Dillette, they're all in the 1% of top genetics when it comes to genetics. So it's hard it's hard to say who had the best. They just had different body types, but they're all.
What
in
about
Ronnie?
1%. Was Ronnie better than them? Or was Ronnie just had a better work ethic? I don't know.
Yeah, he had a good 8 run leg.
Yeah.
they pushed because he was like at first he was just different. His structure, he wasn't the best structured guy.
No.
But he did a hell of a lot, with his physique.
He changed it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, from like guys like you and Flex, right from the get go, you can see the structure was there. Everything was. You just had to put muscle on yourself.
Yeah, we had different tools that we was able to be successful with. And Flex wasn't the best diet either. He'll eat some shit.
Yeah. But Dillette, Lee, you said Dillette ate shit and he still was crazy shredded, right?
Yeah, when he stayed with me, he'd always be eating garbage because a couple of times I'd come home and I'd go to do cardio at 4 or 5 in the morning and he'd been eating whatever the night before and spilt sauce all over the carpet and I'd step in and go, what the hell is that shit? But then, it's like I said, I was buying those Edmonds cakes because the Edmonds cakes were fat-free, so they'd always say, son, get me an Edmonds cake. So I'd go down and buy a big chocolate Edmonds cake, one for me and one for Paul. And 2 months out, we're eating one every day. And I'm like, did you eat yours, Father? And he's like, yes, son. 2 weeks before the Olympia, I'm throwing mine in the bin. And I'm saying to Paul, did you eat yours, Dad? Did you eat your cake? He goes, yes. I say, well, keep eating it. Keep eating.
And he was getting more ripped eating it, too. That's the funny thing.
We keep taking insulin with it.
I remember
Flex.
I remember I was staying with Paul. Check this out. I remember I was staying with Paul for he had, had some things happen in his life, and we was hanging together pretty strong. So we had spent a few months in the same spot. But I had a table on my counter in the kitchen. There was a bottle of GHB. In my 7-Up can. He thought it was 7-Up. And he was he downed it. Next thing you know, he spit it out immediately, but he actually drank some. So he was passed out in like a big bear rug in the middle of my damn living room.
Luckily, Chris had experience with people passing out with GHB. So you didn't panic or anything.
Let's just say it wasn't the first time.
Yeah.
I'd always tell the story when he's living with me. He wouldn't like to do cardio. I'd say, "Come on, Paul, let's go do cardio." He's like, "No, son, no." And I'd get home from the gym. He's like, "Son, turn the air down." He'd just be sitting on the couch, sweat pouring out, the towel around his neck. He's like, I think I took too much Clen. I've definitely taken too much Clen. Sweat's just pouring out of him. He's like, son, you might have to help me up, because I had 2 bathrooms upstairs. You might have to help me up the stairs.
He weighed 300 pounds.
And once he got upstairs, he just lay on the bed. And that was it. He's like, I can't come back down.
Lee, Davier Will says that he believes you have some of the best genetics and muscle bellies of all time.
Oh, so. Yeah, well, it's not nice to throw yourself in there, Dave. I was being modest.
Well, that's why I'm giving you a little plug right here.
Well, I did win my first 3 shows at 13, Dave. I don't want to say anything, but
That's true. You won the Mr. Aborigine, though, didn't you? At 13.
My first national title.
They didn't think it was funny, Dave.
No, I know they didn't like it. Yeah,
I won at 17. Yeah, that went over my head. That went over my head like a boomerang, Dave. I'll wait for it to come back.
Chris, they want to know. Chris Cormier, they want to know who should have won. I guess 97. Nasser or Dorian?
Well,
whose physique did you like better?
Well, I mean, of course, Nasser was strong as hell from the front. He had nothing going on from the back.
Right.
But he had a stronger, especially that most muscular in that show. Nobody was really touching that look. He just didn't have the backside. So, I mean, the only thing was wrong with Dorian. He missed his peak a little bit, but probably because it was hard to, it is hard mentally preparing when you're injured. Your big was injured. So back then, you can only hide that type of injury so much, but he was doing a really good job with he was still like really good up there. Especially like I say, from the back, you don't really notice anything from the back that's injured. So I mean, I could see the argument either way, but it's just whatever you want to pick the strongest, because so one's going to be stronger from the front, one's going to be stronger from the back, and then it's conditioning and how you actually present it. Because a lot of shots he totally wasn't using that side. He did a really good job at hiding that stuff. But like I said, no one was as strong as Nasser was in that show from the front.
Chris,
do you remember
Chris Aceto?
Yeah, I was there at that show.
I know. What did you think? I was too. I wanted to get your opinion on that one.
Flip a coin. I liked Nasser the most muscular, Nasser in the front double. I think he had those shots, but I think you'd probably go with the side chest, side tricep, back lat spread, back double to Dorian, and front lat spread to Dorian. It just, it wasn't Dorian's best look, so I think people were extremely critical of him. But I could see Nasser winning. If you have like 10 people on the judging panel or 9 people, I could easily see like 5 going with, a close decision, with Nasser. I will say though that the most impressive person at the finals of that show was Kevin Levrone. I don't know what Cormier thinks, but Kevin was way off in prejudging him. And
I remember a young little blonde kid on stage who got 5th at the '97 Olympia.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
They actually have you listed at 6th place here with Paul Dillette 5th. I guess maybe they still have the wrong. They got the wrong placing still.
Lee looked phenomenal.
That's when Paul threatened Wayne to
Wayne. Yeah, had him by
he
the
didn't
neck.
threaten him.
He had a bottle at the table with a bottle in his hand. Like he's gonna hit Wayne with a bottle.
I want you to know, Chris. I sort of instigated that because when I got on the Queen Mary, I went and saw Paul and said, "Paul, did you hear what happened?" He's like, "What happened, son?" I said, "Oh, you didn't hear." I said, "You know how I was 5th and you were 4th and Kevin was 6th." Right? I said, "I got 6th now and you got 5th and Paul and Kevin got moved into 4th." And Paul said, I said to Paul, "You know what? I think you just lost 20 grand. He's like, "Where's fucking Wayne? Where's Wayne?" I said, "There he is. Go get him." $20,000.
Didn't he have to give back the money and if he didn't want to? Or was it? I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Paul had already spent the money. That was the problem. It was only like an hour after the show, too.
Yeah, but he was planning on a new Mercedes.
Yeah,
he didn't want to give the money back.
He got the Mercedes. He just couldn't get the upgraded stereo, like Flex had. I think that's why he was upset.
No, he actually got the 6-cylinder SL. I remember that. And he took the emblems off it, so no one would know.
I remember the time I remember the time I didn't let Chris know I was dying inside. I remember the 2002 San Francisco when it was you, me, and Dexter, and Wayne kept us out there for like 7 call-outs in a row. And we're all starting to almost cramp up, and they kept comparing you, me, Dexter, and then hi there. And then I saw Chris, he went to take a knee and he was breathing hard, and I was cramping up, and I said, "I'm not going down. I'm going to stand with you like this." My abs are cramping. I'm looking at Chris on the ground. And I'm like, "I'm not going down. I'm staying."
I was pissed in that show. That was like
you got pissed back. Chris got pissed backstage.
No.
Only joking. But remember, because
what show was that, guys?
Chris, 2002 San Francisco.
Call me out for the first call out. I'm the returning champion. I'm in shit. The fucking guy didn't call me. Sorry, I don't know if you guys. I forgot his damn. What was his name?
Lee Priest first, Chris Cormier second in that show.
Yeah, but like I said, I was
third.
the first call out. Like, how do you not call me on the first call out?
And backstage, I remember after it was over, I said to Chris, I went up to Chris and said, "What did you weigh, Chris?" He's like, 260. I said, "Oh, fuck no, I weighed 199 and I beat you." He's like, "Fuck you."
But Chris did beat you the following weekend at the Arnold, so Chris was second Yeah.
Yeah.
So you made a lot more money.
Judges didn't like me at the Arnold. The judges didn't like me at the Arnold for some reason.
Yeah, they dropped you down to 4th there. What happened?
Oh man,
I'll
tell you what. I'm glad that I'm just looking at the judges. I'm like on my 6th time going for the title in a row. I'm looking down and I see Manny just like he just went like that.
Oh no!
And I was like, but thank God I seen that, because if I didn't, that got me ready for a little bit, because I would have kicked shit over. I would have I don't know what I would have freaked out right then and there.
Right.
But that kind of caught me a little bit. So I was just looking at the judge's face and it was like,
Chris,
he's like, what? You called out Lee Priest before me? What the fuck is going on?
Chris,
be honest, that's what you were thinking inside.
When you were helping Jay back in those days
in Australia, I was pissed. I was like, fucking go ahead.
Don't mention Australia. 2005 won in Australia. Let's not mention that.
Take control, Dave.
That's all right. What show are you guys talking about? 02?
2005, the Australian one.
Yeah, I thought I was coming for the victory and shit, because I was always saying, I was like, me at 80%. I was pissed at Tony too. I was like, Tony, this is bullshit. I said, this is bullshit. I was like pissed off next day. I was like, dude. I told him, I'm like, me at 80% is better than him just fucking 100%. I was just
But I tell the story because
I chopping him up and down.
I told a story at the Arnold Classic. I heard because the Australian was after the Arnold Classic, and I remember hearing Chris backstage, and he pretty much said, he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to Australia. Me at 80%." So I went down to Australia a week early, got in real hard condition.
And I got
because I think you had. I think you got held up.
Less than 24 hours
before the show.
Chris was probably out partying the night before too, before he got on the flight.
No, I almost missed his flight.
And then I came out and I made maybe $3,000 on photo sales and stuff, before the show.
You're like, this is bullshit. He's like, this is bullshit. Lee comes home to Australia. They let him win the fucking show. This is bullshit.
I didn't like that dumbass judge they had on the panel, and I think he was. He was affecting the guy next to him too. I seen him talking to him. Was
it Andre or
the one dude? That one dude. I didn't like that one guy.
Oh yeah, I know the one. Yeah. What's his name? He used to have an emu farm. Rod. His wife used to compete.
Exactly.
Lee used to help him bale hay at the emu farm. Of course,
I lost by 2 points, man. 2 points, and that was like 1-2 right there.
Lee, when he was a kid, used to feed the emus every day.
That's all it took. I gave a victory speech, and they're like, "So Lee, what's it like to win here and stuff?" And I knew Chris was upset. And I said, "Well, when I go to America, I get second and third." I said, "Chris, welcome to my world."
No, but then I had like 15 people wait for me outside. They were pissed off too. And then
you had your entourage with you.
Yeah, and I ended up taking them all to dinner, and I had spent like $2,000 that night.
Yeah, that's when the prize money was very low. Yeah,
and $2,000 in Australia doesn't.
Lee went to Kentucky Fried Chicken after the show. He had to conserve his money. He didn't win that much. So. Chris and Steve, let me ask you a question. When Cormier was taken second, at the Arnold Classic year after year after year, what was it? 5 times, Chris?
6.
6. 3 of those times, I think, was to Jay?
Yeah.
Chris, did you ever worry about Cormier? Were you guys concerned, you and Jay, about, because obviously he was genetically, probably the best guy in the lineup, aside from Jay. What was the strategy to beat Cormier?
There was never anyone I've ever helped. Cormier knows there's never a strategy to beat anyone, just to be your best. I've never thought, that's a straight up 100% truth. I mean, it's the truth that you don't worry about the other guy, but it's more important than the truth. It's an important. I mean, if you're a competitor and you're worried about the other guy, how am I going to beat this guy? You're going to lose.
Yeah.
all's Cormier or all's Flex or all's Ronnie, all Jay has to do is be their all-time best, and they have a good chance of beating the other names that I just named.
Yeah. Here's a good question though, and this is going to be a tough one for you to answer. Had Cormier come in at his best at any of those shows that Jay beat him, you think Jay could have lost?
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
Which year?
I think Cormier could have been. I think Cormier could beat Wheeler, and I think Cormier could beat Jay, and I think Cormier could beat Ronnie at his all-time best. I mean, I think we saw greatness from Chris, but I don't think we ever saw all-time. I mean, we've seen close to all-time, but I just think that there's, one of the. I don't remember other people's sayings, but one of the sayings that I've stolen from Cormier, or I don't steal from Cormier, but it's in the back of my head, is don't leave anything on the table. Right, Chris?
Right.
That's Chris's saying. And I've heard him say it to people who I've prepped, or I've prepped and he's trained. And Chris has said, yeah, the guy looks great, but remind him, don't leave anything on the table, which means you got to bring like all-time best.
Everything.
I mean, so I guess I wanted to make that point because I think that, Chris at his best is competitive with, those are legendary names, and Chris is a legend too. But I don't know if Chris ever reached like the pinnacle of what he could be.
No, I don't think so. But the thing is, to be totally honest, I think about it a lot still to this day. What happened, how did this happen, whatever. You got to understand, I'm doing 10 shows a year for multiple years in a row. And I don't see too many people being able to do that and reach this absolute best. If I was doing one show a year, like a lot of these guys are doing, or some guys are doing, I think I would. But I was pressured more from companies that I'm sponsored by, all that stuff, to continue to compete like that. That wasn't my choice. That I didn't want to.
Right.
We had discussed that too at last year's Arnold. I mean, this is something me and Chris already talked about. It's something he already knows. And
so I didn't do a prep. I'm already tired. I'm already tired. I'm already beat up. I don't want to do what it takes to be that guy right now. But I just fought through it and did what I could. But it was tough.
It's amazing when you look back though on the sport and you see Chris, you see so many people like not even with us anymore. We know guys in the 90s who died and not with us anymore.
Right.
And you seem to have escaped, with your health, and you're in a good place mentally now. You're doing well for yourself. Do you think maybe your life just happened the way it was supposed to for the way it did? Maybe if you would have got too caught up with bodybuilding, you would have taken more drugs, and you would have been, maybe you would have destroyed your health completely.
Hey man, I gotta accept it that way.
You had a balance. You did have a balance, even though you partied a little too much. You were balanced in the sense that you didn't. I think you didn't overdo the bodybuilding to this extent where you overthought it and you tried to do more than you probably needed to.
I just feel like I had a different way of being myself and doing the things that I was doing. The thing is, though, I was in nightclubs from the age of 18 just because I was bouncing. At 80, and then I was going to clubs, as part of my membership for Gold's Gym when I was not even 21 years old yet. I never paid a membership, but I'd say I'll go to clubs and promote Gold's Gym. I'd take off my shirt and clothes in the club. Right? I wasn't even 21 yet. So
that's funny.
When I turned 21, I was in the clubs just dancing or whatever. I was a shy person, but I was like, man, if I can just get in front of these people and get comfortable here, I can get comfortable on the stage with a lot of people, because I'm a guy that didn't even talk in class. Like I was really shy.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So it was a point to where even like when I was like, okay, when I started to pose, I'm doing slow music because I don't want to do anything too much because then, that takes more nerve. So then it was, like I said, in 99, when people started noticing that I do it, and I did this stupid interview, I was smoking a joint and talking too much. doing an interview and told the guy everything. He was telling me stuff too, so I was going back and forth.
Yeah.
But he didn't talk. He didn't put anything he was talking about in the magazine. Just what I'm saying. So I'm just
who was that interviewer? Who interviewed you?
He worked for Weeder, and he had dark hair. He was directing porn and shit at the time. So I forgot his name.
Chris, you must know who that is. Who is
I forgot his name. Seriously.
Aceto, you must know who that is.
On the side.
He probably was one of your college roommates.
So I'm talking greasy back and forth with him.
That sounds like Chris and my conversations now.
Romano, you don't know who he's talking about?
I don't know his name. Little short guy, dark hair.
Wasn't that Perrine? No.
I forgot.
It wasn't like Jim Rosenthal or Jim Schmaltz or anything like that, was it?
It wasn't.
Schmaltz had grayish. He had grayish.
Jim
sort of
Rosenthal
picture
was
those
like kind of curlyish hair.
Chris, what
was
year?
he sort of shorter and heavy?
Chris,
heavy
back
set?
to bodybuilding. What was your best year? Your best Olympia, where you thought you looked your best?
I like the 99 look.
Yeah, me too.
I think because it was so funny because I didn't have no cramping. I wasn't thirsty. I wasn't hungry. I was
third place at that show too.
Yeah,
I feel like
Ronnie and Flex.
I feel like I could have beat Flex in that show.
that was my next question.
You beat
Chris,
Ronnie too there. Yeah.
I asked the question because I knew you were going to say 99, and I wanted to see what you thought your true placing should have been because.
Yeah, I thought it between me and Ronnie for sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
You know why it wasn't, Chris?
Why? I don't know why.
It wasn't because people weren't ready for that. You know what I mean?
I told him I was coming for the
I
top.
know you did. But I thought you were high.
But getting ready for the show, if you look at getting ready for that show, I when I was talking in the talking on the video for the what was it, the Road to Olympia, whatever video.
Yeah.
I said
the Mitsuru.
Yeah, so I said getting ready for the show. Like, I've been top 6, 3 times. My first year and then the consecutive years after. I said I was going to be top 6. I was top 6. So I said, so this year I'm going to go for the top 3. And I say I'm going to be the top 3, I'm going to be in the top 3. And I told Nasser, I said, you're never going to beat me again.
Oh boy, he must have loved that.
Yes, I was going to be after the 98 Olympia. Like I didn't deserve that or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I said, you're never going to beat me again, Nasser, ever. And we switched places. I think he was maybe 6th in the 99 Olympia, and I was 3rd. I thought I couldn't even beat him the 98.
He was 6th, yeah. He was 6th, yeah.
I thought I could have beat him in 98. I didn't think he was that good. I thought it was pretty tight.
Right.
Yeah, you were very tight.
What did Nasser say what did Nasser say to you when you said that to him?
No, we kind of just like shook our head, like, yeah, it's gonna be me and you. Then we're gonna go for this. And then I was just telling him, I said, dude, because I just noticed a few times when I competed against him, looking at the photos, I'm like, Nasser shouldn't have beat me. He was bigger, but Nasser shouldn't have beat me.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, I guess he thought otherwise. So we had just a little spat back and forth with that,
Well, when you said that to him, I can't imagine Nasser accepting that insult with grace.
But the thing is, though, he was cooler than that because when I was talking to him, I said, Nasser, so when he first was in Olympia, it was my first Olympia, his first Olympia, 94. And I was backstage and I was like, I was getting a lot of call outs. So I knew I was doing good. I was in the top 6. Mm-hmm. And he was like unsure how his place. And he was like, oh, he said, I don't know how I'm going to place. And I said, you're doing good, man. I see you placing. You're doing good. He's like, you really think so? You really think so, Chris? I said, I think so. Good
impression.
Like that. And that's exactly what he said. And then he's like, oh. So I think he got okay, I'm going to, really try. And I beat him in that show. The 94, I beat him, right?
Yeah.
Behind me. And then, like later on, I was like looking, I was like, man, this guy don't have much going on from the back.
Yeah.
I said, if I could just get people to see that, then, that's where we're just like, so we went out a little bit in the magazine and stuff too, so
What did he say about you in the magazines? He must have had a name for you or something.
Well,
like that.
I mean, obviously, because he's way bigger than I am. I mean, he just always made reference to me being a, basically like an ectomorph compared to him.
Yeah. Yes, the real deal. He is a junior of my. He was like my little son on the stage. I told him that he should go home and eat some more cornbread because he will never beat me again.
I took him to a club one time in Atlanta. He went in there with all the damn photos and shit. He had a big old bag of photos with him.
Yeah. My God. In
the club, big old black bag. Sitting there looking at everybody.
Did he try to steal your girlfriend when you went to the bathroom?
No.
I love you, Nasty. May you rest in peace.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's my nasty stories. Anyway.
John, what would you say was the best you've ever seen Cormier?
99. Yeah.
I had different looks, but I thought 99 was like a.
Chris, what year did you win the Ironman? 2000?
Over
Wheeler.
Yeah, I think it was 2000.
Because
I was already counting that win. I was counting that 99 as one of the times I beat Flex, even though the judges didn't see it that way. I counted it as a win.
I'm glad you did.
As a win.
Do you think you should have won the 2000 over Flex because you beat him a week before?
Of course, I should have beat him. Go back and look at the photos.
No. That was a very balanced.
Look at the photos.
Yeah, I asked because I figured you'd say that.
Yeah, man.
You're really balanced and you're really sharp at that show.
Right.
That's the 99 Olympia right there.
Yep.
Olympia? Yeah. Yeah, we had to get a little Shawn out the way.
You were very big there, Chris.
Yeah, I was a good combination of everything, I thought.
Yeah, you were really round.
The lines were really good, the routine was awesome. I had a really good time doing the routine. I was totally laughing at myself the whole routine. It was just funny to me. It's the shit that I was doing. And but yeah, man, Ronnie was still strong there. So
yeah.
But I know some shots I could get Ronnie in, some shots he would get me in. Just the ones he gets me in is just way more, pulverizing than what I could do.
What was Ronnie's best year, do you think, Chris? I'll go around the horn. Let's go to you first, Chris.
98.
Really? So you think he got worse from there, huh?
I think he's trying to get too big. I mean, I'm a guy that's like, okay, he had a short waist, and I wasn't a fan of eating too much with a short waist. Like, I think you overeat, and it just takes away from the actual.
You're right.
Physique. You don't want to
happen to me.
You want to be able to see your posing trunks all the way around instead of so much mass that you can't even see the trunks.
Right. Aceto, what do you think? Best Ronnie Coleman look?
I agree with Chris. 98.
A lot of people say 99. You don't think 99 was better?
No, he was bigger, but nowhere near as just polished and finished as 98.
Okay.
Because you know what, Dave? In his defense, I mean, Chris is a super student of the sport. See if you agree, Chris. Is when you come in that type of condition and that type of polish, you can't. It's hard to do that again.
Right.
You can't get more polished and more detailed. So you say, okay, well, I'll get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
They were into getting bigger. He did a really good job. In the Arnold 2001.
You know what?
That would be the second one, I would think.
You know what's so funny, Chris? You tell me, I've never asked you before. 98 Coleman standing against 2003 Coleman. Who wins?
98.
Yeah, not even close. And people talk about the 2003 like
he was wacky big in 2003, though. I'll give you that.
Well, there's the answer.
It depends what you like. You'd have to see it, I guess, on stage to really know. John, what do you think?
Well, I guess if you were on stage next to him, you'd have a good insight. Cormier was there.
Right. But Chris likes aesthetics more, than necessarily mass. So that's just his personal preference, right?
That's what I was reading about. It's supposed to be about. So I just kept that in my mind,
Well, you always did that. That was always the key with your physique. I mean, the aesthetics. John, what do you think? Best Ronnie Coleman?
Well, I think there's two best Ronnie Colemans. I think definitely 98. You can't argue with any of that. I mean, that was just amazing. When him and Flex were standing up there, first and second for the Olympia. But what was it, 2003, 2004? He came back 47 pounds heavier or something like that.
Yeah,
Three. Yeah, I remember that in Vegas. And that was, I remember Alti Bautista telling me, wait till you see him. And it was, everybody tells you that. And I just remember her, I can still hear her voice in my head saying, damn, that girl wasn't kidding, and I mean, it was just such an awesome sight, I mean, this is supposed to be bodybuilding, as he would say, as Ronnie would say. So I really appreciated that. I really appreciated that freak image. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And he was in shape too, it wasn't like, it was 200 and it wasn't at 47 pounds of water. It was 40. He was like a rock. It was incredible looking.
Lee, what do you think? Best Ronnie Coleman?
I agree with Chris and 98 definitely. Yes, 2003 he was bigger, but 98, like you said, when you're that good and you're that polished and you got that size, he didn't really need to do anything else. Like I said, he got a bit bigger, yes, but did it make him look better? No, it made him look a bit bigger. It's like, I remember when Flex was competing, I think when he won was the Arnold at like 218 or something, and how great Flex looked then. And then Flex played the size game. Yes, Flex still looked great, but I think he still looked better at that lighter weight with the conditioning that he had. And I think Ronnie in 98 had it all, the size, the conditioning, everything was just perfect. And when, it's almost like you can't really perfect on perfection. That was it. So,
I look at it this way. I said to myself, who's the greatest bodybuilder of all time? And I believe in my mind it was Ronnie Coleman. And I say, well, which Ronnie Coleman was the greatest of all time? Could 98 have beaten Dorian Yates in 93 at his best? I don't know. I think it would have been close. I'm not sure. Would any of those? Could Jay have beaten any of those, or Phil Heath? No, probably couldn't have beat those two looks. So I'm thinking to myself that, Ronnie in 03 was so big and he was hard. He had no gaps in his physique whatsoever. Maybe aesthetically wasn't quite as good, but Dorian wasn't that great aesthetically, either. So in my mind, the greatest look was the 03 look because of he actually showed that you can be almost 300 pounds and you could be shredded and be Mr. Olympia. And so to me, that was the pinnacle. I'm not saying, aesthetically it might not have been his best look, but he was tapered. He had everything. I was there. It was,
he was incredible. 93 or
I was there because I remember Jay looked really good in 03. Oh no, I wasn't at the Dorian Yates.
No. Okay, so here's the thing with Dorian.
Yeah.
He ate putting you around, right?
Yeah.
He trained. I mean, I just heard stories of him leaving the party that they would have to go after the Olympia with everybody early because he had legs the next day. Yeah. And so he would not, and then they call him the shadow. I get all that, but he closed his gym down when he would train. That way, no one's catching eye contact with him. No one's, talking to him. No one's doing anything. So all that, and then per inch of this person's body, you see those little things that you can't see from a video or a photo. So I just remember leaving there like, fuck, am I going to quit this damn thing or what? That's the only time. And plus, I was standing right behind him.
Right.
I stood right behind him the year later. And I just never been on the stage with someone that you can feel their presence like that. Like I was walking actually behind him. Behind him, Shawn Rhoden behind me, and then there's Dorian. I remember going up to the stage and we're gonna walk him to the stage, and it's like it starts. I just see him, and then his back is just growing as I'm going up the stairs. look at this shit, you know. And it's like, and then we had the same slippers on, so I messed around and I put on his slippers instead of mine.
Oh boy.
He was looking for me for like 10 minutes. He said,
"Oh, really?" He was mad.
Yeah, my first Olympia, I'm walking around in Dorian slippers and shit.
And he sold them on eBay for $2,000.
Yeah, he was looking for me.
Like my cat's got his T-shirt stolen. Cormier stole Dorian slippers.
So I'm just saying, like when Dorian opened up his back and stuff like that, like I've never seen anybody like that. Like Lee Haney was right there with that situation, but it was just
Ronnie didn't have that. You think you don't think it was just because you were young?
Dude, put up me and Ronnie's last spread. Just from the '99 Olympia, we got a comparison, I think.
Okay, let me look. I'll see if I find it.
Look at the last spread. So I don't know. I mean, Ronnie is good, but I think it appeared. I think from his body, the way his body was structured, it looked like that. But I haven't seen anyone back like Dorian Yates' last spread. No.
Hey, Chris, how about the side tricep, Cormier, in real life? In real life?
In real life?
No, I'm talking about Dorian's. I say that because 95 Olympia. So 93 he was off the charts. 94 he had the injury. 95 he came back with a vengeance, and he decimated the lineup. And in pictures it looks like
remember that? I know, but when
in pictures it looks like he won, kind of, sort of. But when, like, I was at the show and everyone comes out and does their poses, and then when Dorian came out, I mean, his front last part at that show.
That's what he said. He murdered the. He was guilty for it. He said, "How do you feel about murdering the competition year after year?" Blah blah blah. And he said something like 100% guilty, like that. She stood up and he's like, he just shot. I mean, that's the thing. Back then, you know, you would jack someone's mind up. Just with the music you play, you know.
Right. That's a pretty good lat spread for Ronnie Coleman right there.
I mean, that's not even fully opened.
Yeah. He couldn't even Ronnie couldn't even pose his body that well, and he still was crazy. Like
almost as good as Joel Stubbs.
Yeah, right. Joel only had those legs that Ronnie had. Oh my god. Joel
Stubbs had the best back ever in the world.
Yeah. And he had to sit in an airplane seat.
What's his name had a good back and chest, and that Johnny Morant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. He was a freakish bodybuilder. I forgot about Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good.
Son played football. Good. Johnny Morant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, son is that. Lee, they want to know if you're going to do wellness on your comeback. That's the
told
rumor going around.
I told you, Chris is going to train me. I'm going to have Chris the technician for my diet, Chris Cormier for my training, and I'm cross-gendering into the Miss Olympia.
There you go. There's your answer, guys.
Yes.
He's identifying as a female bodybuilder.
That's right.
Yes.
Lee sent me this really funny radio thing where they were talking about this woman, this guy who was this guy. He was in the military. He was like 6'6". He decided when he came back from the military, he was going to be a woman. So he decided to start dressing as a woman and identifying as a woman. And he's playing basketball with these like a junior college women's basketball team. And these women look like these girls look like they're like 18, and he's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He's like 42.
Yeah, he's like 42 years old, and he's like dunking the ball, and he's like shooting over them. He's literally 6'6". I mean, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think about this, Cormier? With the guys identifying as women, and now they're able to play sports. Trump actually made a speech. They said that Biden, congratulations, you destroyed women's sports. You believe that?
I don't like going competing against women. I wouldn't want a daughter of mine competing against a dude in anything.
Right. I mean, if you decide you want to be a woman tomorrow, Chris, and you went back into women's bodybuilding, I mean, you probably do pretty damn good with your structure and everything. Even at 50 years old. You know?
You might finally get that O.
He's like, holy, that's a good idea. I never thought about that.
They might say, oh, she has a big clitoris, doesn't she?
Oh, shit.
You guys could have one more battle: Lee Priest versus Leanne Priest versus Christine Cormier.
Christina.
Yeah,
Christina
in
and
bodybuilding.
Leanne.
Oh my God!
Why not? We'll give it one more.
1-2 at the Olympia. Who wins?
If the bodybuilding fails,
who's going to win women's bodybuilding?
Oh my God!
We'll take on the bikini.
Shit.
Yeah, who would win? John, who do you think would win if Cormier and Lee both decided to be women and they competed against each other? Who do you think would take each other at this age, not back in the day?
Let me get the lighting. Let me get the lighting. I got to get the lighting right.
In fitness or figure?
I think Lee might be a better looking woman than
bikini, fitness or figure. What are they competing?
Bodybuilding. Let's give them bodybuilding at least.
Bodybuilding
or women's physique at least. I don't know.
Women's physique.
I don't know. I think
wellness. How about wellness? All right.
I think they might mark Leanne down. I think they might mark Leanne down for the face tats.
He doesn't have any left. Come on.
Well, I was gonna say Chris would have. I was going to say Chris would have to shave, but I remember some of those women back in the day. No, you won't. You won't have to shave. I remember when I was dating a female bodybuilder girl, and I used to kiss her, and I used to get razor burn from her face.
Oh, shit.
Now I'm going to get like the women emailing me after this show.
Oh, yeah.
We went so well. We made it the whole way, too.
Yeah.
So who would win? Come on, Cormier. I mean, Aceto. Who would win between
Depends on the category, man.
Lee and Cormier in the women's category? Who's a better woman?
I think we lost.
Not me.
I think I lost Chris. I think he hung up on. I think he hung up on us.
I think I have more aesthetics when it comes to women's physique. I think I might get him.
Cormier's got Cormier might have the smaller waistline. He might fit in better with the women. I thought you hung up on me, Chris. You were so insulted by the question.
What was the question?
I said, "Who? If Chris Cormier and Lee competed in the women's division now, who would win? Like, who has a more feminine physique and appearance? Total package.
Cormier, because he's got more height and more width to the shoulders.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, I see. You're
sorry, Lee. Stay as a man.
You're saying I'm a short, stumpy woman, am I?
No, I was just thinking of. I was thinking of like.
Look at that, baby got back. Baby got back. Look at that. Yeah.
You had trouble with your glutes too, Lee. That's true. He's right. You know?
I can just hear Black's voice.
I've seen Cormier dance at the clubs. I think that Cormier would maybe take it.
I can just hear Blackman's voice looking at Cormier on stage and saying, "The symmetry, the symmetry."
I'm going figure. I'm going to go figure and wear high heels, and I'll show you. You haven't seen me in 6-inch pumps.
I'll bet you $10,000 that Chris Cormier can walk in high heels better than Lee could. No doubt in my mind.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I guarantee it.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen a picture of Chris and I walking into a club together in high heels? Have you?
No, I haven't. But I'm sure it's floating. I'm sure Bobby Smalls has one out there somewhere. All right, guys. I wanted to thank you guys for having so much fun. Chris for joining us, of course, with the great stories, and this was a fun show. I've been trying to get people to join us every week now because this is kind of the dead part of the season. Predictions. I want to ask you one more question before I let you go, Chris. Big Ramy, obviously. I mean, you've worked with him. I know you've done posing with him out at Oxygen Gym before. Back in, and you've said that if this guy ever, puts it all together, he's going to be dangerous. Can Big Ramy be beaten, or do you think we're going to see like a dynasty now of 4 or 5 or more wins in a row from him?
Well, I mean, it'd be hard to bet against Ronnie. He has some, some dangerous shots and too much mass, as we all know. I just think I'm a competitor, and I got to think that anybody can be beaten on a given day. It depends on the package they brought. I mean, he could have been beaten this past Olympia by someone that just had it all. Like, if that wasn't the best physique we ever seen ever. Not to say that I just think he deserves a lot of credit for just putting it together the way he did. And I think no one deserved the credit more than himself. For him doing it, for biting the bullet and doing what it takes, because no one's going to lift the weight for you or put that food in your mouth and do that work. So kudos to him on that, man.
Dennis came close to doing it for him, but yeah, and at the end of the day, he has to put it in his own mouth. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, he's got to do it. He's got, and then but everyone knew he could, just whenever he decided to do that, but can still be beaten. Yeah.
What physique out there is of all the guys that are competing now? Do you think has the best chance of knocking off the big Ramy? Is it a Rully Winkler? Is it a Brandon Curry? What do you think?
You're gonna have to have either a lot of mass in the cuts, like a Rully Winkler is capable. You got to have, or you can come in with the and finesse them. Get that
like a Shawn Rhoden, for instance,
super small waist with that just aesthetic. Just like you would have never heard of the name Flex Wheeler if that was the case, because he was never a really huge guy, but he could have beat a lot of people. I mean, him at 219 was damn near impossible to beat, but he's still not the biggest guy.
Sure.
So
I'd still like to see Flex Lewis in the 220 mark, 225 mark with the conditioning still, because he's got a nice physique. Even though he's shorter, he has that mass like Bonac, but I'd like to see Flex Lewis at his best in the lineup.
We hopefully will. Yeah, we hopefully will this year. What about a Kai Green? Can a Kai Green knock off a big Ramy in your estimation?
No, now you're going to start everyone up again, Dave.
I don't think in this age, man. Ramy's in this time,
That's what Chris Aceto, you said the same thing. I think last week I asked you that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
in his prime years.
Kai is, no, Kai can't beat Ramy. No. I mean, what's Kai's calling card? His legs?
Yeah, legs back, maybe.
So I mean.
Can't beat him from the front. Can't beat him from the front of the sides, I don't think. Yeah.
So I just think.
There goes the comment section, Dave. Dave bringing up Kai again, the comment section. Let it go, Dave. Let it go. He's never coming back.
Just throwing it out there. John, do you think that Kai can beat Ramy?
No.
Yeah, I think he's past his best at this point.
It's too late. It's too late for Kai.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Arnold Classic a few years ago. He had a hard time even bringing his abs in that prejudging.
Yeah.
They showed him at the night show, but they definitely wasn't there to prejudge him.
Right.
How many years ago? That was years ago.
Mentally, for Kai to make a comeback, psychologically would be very difficult. For whoever.
You got. We've seen Kai's. Kai's doing that variety show. We've seen Kai do that variety show lately, and he's dressing up as a woman too. So Kai's going to be there with me and Chris in the Missile Olympia. Right? So.
Hey, I think there might be more money in the Miss Olympia pretty soon if Jake keeps up in the prize money, right?
Hey,
Jake is.
I'm going for the car.
Yeah, that's right. You should do the Rising Phoenix show to get the Olympia. Yeah, exactly. Lee'd be like, can I get that Hellcat with nitro? I'll do the show if you add some nitro to the prize package. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I had a great time.
We didn't mention the Chris Cormier Classic. Sorry.
What is that?
Classic, May 22nd.
Where is it?
Milwaukee. Be there. We're giving away vouchers for flights, for food, for all this stuff. We got so many prizes and swords, got everything. We got I think even like a piece of equipment from a
wow. Who's running that with you?
No, I'm with the Tomasinis.
The Tomasinis. Okay, great. Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're good people.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, May 22nd.
It's just an
Thanks for
amateur
the
show, or is
notice
it
on
pro show
contest
too?
prep.
Just an amateur show.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a show to do because we're definitely gonna do. We got a good little crowd. The restrictions are very good for sports out there in Milwaukee. So
Yeah.
Yeah, man, come do my show, man.
All right, you heard it from Chris Cormier. And if they want to contact you, Instagram, is that the best way?
Yeah, _ Chris Cormier _
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that. I was wondering. That is you. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's me.
If he doesn't,
Who came up with it?
If he doesn't answer, he's too busy talking to me.
That's right. Lee, you're doing a TV show over there. When's that gonna air?
I'm not sure when it airs, but I got to film a bit of it tonight, ordering pizza and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
It's like Trailer Park Boys, similar to your Trailer Park Boys show in Australia, but it's just about the equivalent to white trashy rednecks in Australia type thing. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Is that why you frosted your hair again?
No, I haven't frosted my hair. That's the grey. That's the grey.
I'm jealous you have hair. So.
Hey, I've still got it.
Aceto's got the best cut of hair on this whole panel.
Yeah, he does.
There's no doubt about that.
Don't
All right,
get
guys.
He just put the curse on you.
There you go. I wish I had all. Well, John has no hair either, like me, so
No.
he just shaves it. But I pretend I have a little. All right, guys.
Dave gets it.
Yeah, no, it's already. I got tattooed like you. That's all. It's an illusion. As we say every week on Heavy Muscle Radio, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the
truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Good night. Good night.